So we're gonna give this next opportunity to Fiona to say a few words, and and also come. Oh, Henry, Henry,
Thank you very much. It's my honor to be here and in person. Whenever I get invited to come in person, I am gonna be there because this Zoom thing does not work for me very well, not being able to see people's faces or reactions. So I do want to thank Christian of the Central Valley, Silicon Valley Chamber of Commerce. I want to thank Henry Yin of APAPA, and especially Diana Ding. I've known her probably at least a good 20 years, at least, and she has always been very gracious, community-oriented, and just trying to help our Chinese American community survive and thrive, especially during the pandemic. I started out as the president of the Asian Business Association when I was 28 years old. And that is what propelled me to get involved in public office by supporting and encouraging and training and educating small business owners, women and minority small business owners, to get more contracting opportunities at the federal, state, local, and even the private sector. So when I got invited here today to talk about contracting opportunities, I said, I am definitely going to come because this is very near and dear to my heart. And I just want to give this certificate of recognition to Diana, Ding Ding TV, for all they've been doing for so many decades of helping our Asian American community. So thank you, Diana. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, our treasurer, Fiona Ma. Yes, we know each other for so long, but you are always so young, so beautiful. Yes, that's truly amazing and always full of energy. That's something truly inspired all of us and fighting for our rights and also for equalization. Yeah, that's so important. Thank you. And next, I would like to invite our mayor from our city, Lisa Gilmore, here to say a few words. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Right here. Thank you, and thank you, Diana, another woman who never ages. I don't think Diana has ever aged a minute since I met her many, many decades ago. It's a pleasure to be here today, and welcome to Santa Clara. I am a small business owner, so I know how important it is to present. Oh, here we go. Sorry about that. How important it is to give resources and information to small businesses. We have a lot of Asian-owned businesses in the city of Santa Clara, many who have suffered tremendously during the pandemic and who continue to suffer. So I think efforts like this to promote small businesses, allow resources and others in our community is just fantastic. As we recover from the pandemic, it's just that much more important that we give all the help that we can to our businesses in the city of Santa Clara and throughout the state of California. Diana and her group have been wonderful resources for us in so many ways. When our pandemic hit, she was the first. The Chinese Chamber of Commerce was the first to provide resources and PPE to the city of Santa Clara for our employees. So I just want to say thank you, and thank you for having this forum today. It's perfectly timely and so much in order for helping all of us that have suffered, especially our Asian-owned businesses in the city of Santa Clara. So on behalf of the city, I wanted to present 3 commendations, one to Diana, one to Louis Lamb, and I think my third one is to Harry and to Harry Yin. So I'd like to present them on behalf of the city. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you, our mayor. Thank you so much. And next, we would like to invite the mayor from Fremont, Lily May, coming here. Thank you so much. Also, a good, very good friend of mine. We know each other for even longer.
Good morning. I apologize, I have not had my coffee yet, but I'm very excited to be here and to be able to support this excellent effort. And I want to thank Diana and all the team for putting this together. It's very important right now in this moment when we're facing challenges, whether it's small businesses. I look behind me and I see the picture of a bridge. And that's what we're hoping to be able to do today, is to bridge our small businesses to the resources that they need to support them in these challenging times. And one of the things that I have to applaud Dvde for is when it comes to our community, it's providing access and to connect people, whether it's through the language or through other programs. And I feel that she's been an incredible champion, and I want to thank Papa, Henry Yin, as well as Louis Lam and Tao Chow Foundation for these efforts. It's this continued network. We are stronger when we work together, and that's more important now than ever. And so I just wanted to applaud that and really appreciate the fact that you do so much outreach. I also wanted to say something real quickly in Chinese. 大家好，我是佛雷蒙的市长高旭佳，我很高兴有这个机会带我们华裔一起团结。我觉得现在这情况是很重要的情况，所以谢谢Diana 等大家有这个机会代表我们华裔。So come on, and thank you so much for this continued support. We have so many languages, over 105 languages in this area, and over 1,000 manufacturers in my city. And we hope to be able to connect people so that they can compete and be eligible for these programs and to be able to bid for these businesses. Especially, I think, Diana and I know each other, especially as being mothers in the community. And I think that because we want to build this future pipeline for our next generation, this is where I really applaud her for her wisdom and thoughtfulness in trying to put this foundation together. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. Yes, yes. We, you know, all these years, I feel we organize event one after another. Each time, I feel like, you know, we're never ready or never enough. Always so much work to do and so many things to learn. For myself, each time when I'm listening to you guys, always inspired me. Always have so much to learn. And next, I would like to invite our young city council, Anthony Fan from Milpitas. Come here. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here today representing the city of Milpitas. You know, the city of Milpitas is an Asian American majority city, one of the few Asian American majority cities in the region. I'm proud to be an Asian American elected official, but I'm here today to say that I'm so grateful for the organizers for hosting this small business forum workshop on government resources. I want to say that your government has your back. We will support you. Just this past year, the city of Milpitas has appropriated over $1.5 million to small businesses. That's 276 small businesses receiving $5,000 grants. That's just one example of the many ways that government can support you. We're working on our Innovation District specific plan where there's incentives for your business to come to Milpitas. We will help you expedite your permits. We will help you to defer development impact fees. So come invest in us. We will invest in you. And lastly, I just want to, again, thank you to the organizers. I do have commendations as a token of appreciation, of course, to Dvde, my good friend Diana Ding, the Tao Chu Foundation, and Apapa, of course. So thank you for hosting this very important event, and please reach out to your local government leaders if you're a business in need of resources.
Henry and Louis, yeah, please come here. Yes. Stay here for a while. Actually, we also prepared a appreciation certificate for all you guys. Just now we were waiting for Louis to be here. Yes, you guys are always recognize us in the community, but we also want to recognize you guys. You've been supporting and serving the community for so long. So we have a small appreciation certificate for you as well. So. Thank you so much, Anthony. Thank you. Yes, I'm going to give the microphone to Louis. Yeah, when he was driving all the way and there's no traffic, so coming from San Francisco, I'm going to give the microphone to Louis to say for a few words.
Thank you for everyone. Thank you, Fiona. Thank you, everyone, for joining our program. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, so right now we want to present this appreciation certificate to our California treasurer, Fiona Ma. Yeah, come here. Louis and Henry, and please join me together. And this is something, we want to show our sincere appreciation for your long-time contribution to our community. Thank you so much. Louis, come here. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you. Yes, and our mayor, Lisa Gilmore, please come here. Yes. Yeah, thank. Yeah, you probably you're giving all the time, and this time, and yes, we want to recognize you. And Mayor Lily May, yeah, please come here. We feel like well, yes, we feel, the family, yes, exactly, yes. You guys deserve more than us. Thank you so much. Thank you. Our Mayor Lily May is running for State Senate. Okay. Yes, without further ado, and our online audience just get online, and we're going to start. And we have nearly 200 people registered online. Still during the pandemic, so we want to keep people safe and keep most of people online. Only a very few people coming here today. So before we officially start, I want to recognize our partners. Asia Inc., Silicon Valley Central Chamber of Commerce, U.S.-China Chamber of Commerce, Silicon Valley, Oakland Chinatown Chamber of Commerce, CBC, Minority Business Development Agency, Ethnic Media Service, Yuan Media, CBC Life Financial Service, Eric Zhang Associates. And I want to thanks to our partners. Without you, we are not able to have this today. So first, I want to invite our keynote speaker, Fiona Ma, California State Treasurer. Yes. To talk about Infrastructure Investment and the Job Act. Thank you, Fiona.
Actually, I am here to talk about contracting opportunities. with some of our state agencies, because I know that that is something that many people are interested in getting more involved, yet they don't know how to do it. So first off, I am going to start with doing business with the state. Is it okay if I come over here? Okay, great. So the state of California, we have goals of at least 25% of our annual contracting dollars to go to certified small businesses. So to be a certified small business with the state of California, you must be independently owned and operated, not dominated in your field of operations. Your principal office must be located in the state of California. Your owners or corporate officers must live in California. And your business, if you have a business with 100 or fewer employees, you must have an average annual growth receipts about $15 million or less over the 3 most recent tax years. And if you are a manufacturer with 100 or fewer employees, then that average annual growth receipts does not apply to you. If you are a micro business, micro businesses are $5 million or less, or the small business is a manufacturer that has 25 or fewer employees. The state may give you a 5% bid preference, but you must get certified. And you need to get certified every 2 years. It does not automatically, recertify you. So every 2 years you must get certified, and you can do that at the website www.caleprocure.com. And this is a new online portal that is replacing the BidSync portal that people may have been using. This is designed for mobile services, so easy to do from your cell phone. And this portal will give you access to advertise bid opportunities in the state of California. You can also look at prior bids that were submitted, so you don't have to start from scratch. Also, small business and disabled veteran business enterprises also can get certified, and also you can find statewide leverage procurement agreements, and training is also on this CalEProcure website. So once you're registered, you can apply for small business certification, small business for the purpose of public works certification, and disabled veterans business enterprise certification. So that's the way you do business through our California Department of General Services. The California Office of the Small Business Advocate, which is our small business advocate here at the state, also has technical assistance throughout California. These technical assistance centers are through the Procurement Technical Assistance Centers, or PTAC, and they have counselors and advisors and can help you also navigate through this system. The website is www.calosba.ca.gov. There is one in Northern California, www.norcalptac.org, or you can also call them at 707-267-7561. If you are looking to do business with the UC system has a different system that you have to sign up with, and you need to register with Cal U Source. Cal U, like the letter U, SOURCE. And these contracts range from $10,000 to $250,000 set aside for small businesses. Also, the California State University system also has their own system, and that is CSUBUY, B-U-Y, CSUBUY. That is the public bid site, And there are 23 community college campuses in the state of California waiting for you to apply. Community colleges has their own system. Also, we have 116 California community colleges, and you can go on the individual website and look for their procurement processes. And if you are trying to do business with special districts like transit districts, water districts, and others, they all have their own bid process. So you need to go to that special district, Google them, go onto their website, and then type in contract opportunities, and it should take you to their site. Over the pandemic, we've also done over 300 webinars with chambers of commerce and other local agencies to get the word out on federal, local, state, and private sector opportunities, grants, and loan programs. There are two websites I would encourage you to go to, and that is California Sbdc.org. These are your local small business development centers located throughout the state of California. They are funded by the state of California as well as the U.S. Small Business Administration. They offer free services, free counseling, free advice, free webinars and seminars. So I would encourage you to go to that website, type in your zip code, and it will give you your local SBDC center. And then another great resource is the California Small Business Majority. And they have a website, venturize.org. And they also give you up-to-date resources for small businesses, the latest and the greatest. And we have partnered with the SBDC as well as Small Business Majority over the last 2.5 years. And another important resource, I know Porter Wong is here, and he will talk about the MBDAs. And that also has been a great partner for us. So I hope you get a lot of information out of today. I want to thank all of the organizers for hosting this. This is the first How to Get Government Contracts webinar that I have done, or seminar that I have done in the last 3.5 years. And I think it is very, very important because it is difficult to navigate, but once you do get certified, you should be getting business because a lot of these state agencies are looking to contract with you, and we have goals that we have to meet. So if we don't have vendors who are certified, then small businesses, minority, women, disabled, veterans, businesses are not going to get their fair share of contracting opportunities. So thank you all, and enjoy your day. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, our California State Treasurer. And we're not only live streaming this on Zoom, we are also live streaming this on YouTube. At the same time, we're going to record today's content and send over to our communities, over 100,000 followers on social media. We hope that we are able to reach more people to be able to benefit from this. Yeah, thank you so much. Yes. I know that our State Treasurer, Fiona Ma, need to leave. Thank you so much. Yes. Okay, I'm going to invite our next speaker. Some of the speakers are online, so online audience, if you have questions, you can post on Zoom or on YouTube. If you search YouTube and just get on YouTube and search Ding TV, you will be able to watch this YouTube online right now and on Zoom, and on Zoom, audience can ask questions. We will have our people to serve you on Zoom. So you have any questions or you want to interact with us, please do so. Yes. Next, we are going to invite Carlos Gutierrez from U.S. Small Business Administration, and he's a Deputy District Director, San Francisco District Office. SBA, he's going to talk about SBA funding programs for small businesses. He's going to be on the Zoom, so we're going to watch that. Thank you. I would also like to introduce our interpreter. We're so honored to have him, Porter Wang. Oh. In another room, Porter is doing the simultaneous translation into Chinese. So people who don't speak English will be able to understand. And Porter is a Minority Business Development Agency of U.S. Department of Commerce. And he's also from San Jose Business Center, operated by Asian Inc. So Porter, we got so fortunate to have a professional as the interpreter. He's sitting in another room to avoid the echo. Okay, now let's give our stage to our next speaker. The original schedule for Porter is at, for Carlos is at 10. That's why he's still preparing. But Louis, you are late here, so would you like to come and say a few words? Oh, Eric, okay. So Eric is Eric ready? Oh yeah, actually, we want to have our Eric here. Eric, yes, come here, yes. Eric, yes, you, yes. You're his brother. You look exactly same as him. Oh, I see. Oh, okay. Thank you. Oh, yes. Yeah. We told him to start at 10, and we're a little bit ahead of our schedule, so that's why Carlos is still preparing. That's good. We can have some, networking. Yeah, Lily. Yeah, come on. We have a small business open. Come and see it because we have online audience. Yeah. We have an online audience waiting for Carlos, but at this time, we would like to invite the mayor from Fremont, Lily May, to share with us some important and useful information.
No, I just wanted to let people know who are watching in the audience that many cities do have small business ombudsmen or their economic development. And I think it's important for us to be able to provide those resources. We want to connect people, whether it's through the permitting process or through the business process. In a non-pandemic year, I usually visit about 50 to 60 businesses, and we realize how challenging it is sometimes, as you heard, many of the different contact points or resources, and it's different for every city, so therefore it's important to have a resource. We don't want to just welcome businesses to our city, we want to make sure that they continue to thrive. So that's why we have in all of our cities, whether it's Santa Clara, Milpitas, and others, we have an economic development department, and I suggest that you work with them as well as the chambers of commerce, because those are some of the resources that I think are so critical in this moment. And we have these types of special forums that can help support this, but this is a unique one, and as Fiona mentioned, this being the first that she's spoken on how to win small business contracts, it is very challenging at times to realize how we connect our minority, our disabled, our veterans, and our women business owners to these programs. So that's why hopefully you can utilize those. I was going to recommend that. I'm happy as the mayor to later on have our economic development department. We can send you a fact sheet so we can connect you to some of those resources. And in fact, we have some of our websites that directly link to that. You may not be aware that you may be eligible for foreign trade zones, for things like education credits, which I think are important for small businesses when they're trying to get themselves started. So hopefully these resources and guides, once we provide them for fact sheets and information, can be a tool that helps you continue to succeed and thrive.
Thank you so much. Yes, I hope that in the future, we can be a bridge to connect with the small business owners and with our cities and counties, and to deliver this information to those especially disadvantaged community. I think that's really important because, I learned this from my mentor, Louis Lam. Actually, Louis is really wonderful. Yeah, he was originally got this idea to do this. Oh yeah. Oh yes, Lisa, you come here. Look, yeah, we want to hear from our city.
Nice filler. I just wanted to add on to what Mayor May said from Fremont. In the city of Santa Clara, we own our own utility, called Silicon Valley Power. And in Silicon Valley Power, we have all kinds of grants and programs for small businesses. If you want to change your lighting or energy efficiency improvements to your businesses, we have amazing programs in Silicon Valley Power. I know as a small business, I've used them as well. So make sure you're looking at not just the economic development departments of the city, but other opportunities that a municipal government may allow to help small businesses. It's on our mind now. All of us want to help. All of us want to have our businesses recover, because once you recover, we can recover as a government. We still haven't financially recovered from the pandemic, and hopefully we'll be able to do that soon. But please look into other programs as well. Thank you.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Yes. We don't know that, many people don't know that our government provides so much support for the small business owners. We see Silicon Valley, we have the high-tech, the giant international companies, but actually, no, it's a small business owners supporting majority of our economy, right? So Anthony, do you have anything to share from Milpitas? Your resource or something that... Oh yeah, okay. Okay, so Sandy is our next speaker. Carlos, ready? Okay. Yeah.
Yes, hello, this is Carlos. I'm here.
Oh, Carlos, thank you so much. Yes, you're here. Yes. So stage is yours. Thank you.
Alrighty. Hello, everyone. I think we're going to get the slides put up here. I can't really see if we have them up. I'll just keep an eye on the screen here and see if Brenda and Porter have them up there. They're going to be moving the slides forward for me. I'll start by saying a little introduction of myself. My name is Carlos Gutierrez. I'm the Deputy District Director for the Small Business Administration, San Francisco District Office. It's a pleasure to join you here today. I'll also give as a caveat, I don't know why, but my computer keeps saying it needs updates. So hopefully we won't have any technical issues going forward, and we'll just play it by ear.
Carlos, we can hear you clearly, but we cannot see your PowerPoint. Oh, now we can see it. Thank you.
Okay. I can't see it, so I'll just unfortunately I can't see it. I'll go ahead and get started and just say which slide I'm on then, and then we can go from there. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about government contracting. This is going to be basically a 1-hour presentation, 30 to 40 minutes, and then we'll have a little bit of time at the end for questions and comments. So basically, in a 1-hour presentation, you're not going to get everything that you would need to know about contracting. But it should give you a good overview and some information about what you would need to know if you are interested in federal contracting and certifications. We're going to talk about federal certifications. So, but just as a caveat, federal contracting is a complex, confusing process. So it's important to remember, that it's going to take time and research on your part as well, obviously. Slide number 2, please. Okay, this is just an overview of what we're going to discuss: small business federal contracting certifications. There are several of them. Each has their own unique requirements. Most of them apply to the socioeconomic status of the individual owners. One in particular does not, and that one is called the Hubzone program. We'll talk a little bit about that one as well. But you'll start to notice some common themes in a lot of what we're going to discuss in terms of except for the Hubzone one, because that one's a little different, like I said, in that the other ones require some of the most, some similar things, namely that the participant, the individual, needs to be owner 51%. They also have to have control, which we'll talk a little bit about. And as I mentioned, you'll notice that a lot of them are similar. Obviously, there's some that are they're not exactly the same programs. They apply to different groups, and they also have a little bit of different requirements for each individual one. Slide 3, please. First one we're going to talk about is the women-owned small business and the economically disadvantaged women-owned small business certification. Slide 4, please. So the women-owned small business program allows contracting officers to set aside, they're called set-asides, to set aside contracts for women-owned small businesses that include economically disadvantaged women-owned small businesses. And this is important because it offers a unique opportunity for those contracting officers, in this case, to set aside 5% of the agency budget that they are trying to award to women-owned small businesses. SBA provides these certifications, and there are requirements, which we'll talk about here in the next slide. But that allows those businesses to build capacity and grow and access set-asides. In this case as well, and with some of the other programs, it also allows for what's called sole source contracts, and those are very advantageous as well, because those sole source contracts allow contracting officers to award a contract without competing it. And that is just a huge advantage. When there's the fact that we discuss pretty frequently that, excuse me, let me turn that off, that most of these contracting programs are self-marketing programs, which means obviously you're going to have to get out there and look at the contracts that are available, and there's resources that are available for that as well that we can help you with, and certainly MBDA and others can help you with, Small Business Development Center, the PTAC. And once you identify some of them, then you would want to self-market yourself to those agencies and to those contracting officers. What makes it good with these programs is, sole source actually makes it easier on the contracting officers and those agencies as well. There are thresholds though for this one. It's 6.5 million for manufacturing and 4 million for services. We'll go to, let me see, keep my eye on it here. We'll go to slide 5. Yeah. So, when you ask yourself, is this a good program for you? These are some of the requirements. The participant needs to be the highest officer position. There's certain NAICS codes that are applicable and certain ones are not. There is no minimum time in business for this program. Others there are, and we'll get into that. And like I mentioned before, there is a 51% ownership requirement. And I didn't mention NAICS codes. NAICS codes, and at the end, if there's any questions, feel free to let me know at the end. So a lot of acronyms also, I will say, in the federal government space. NAICS is one of them, stands for North American Identification and Classification System. Basically, every segment of business has its own code that applies to it, so that, you know, to make it easier for identification purposes in government contracting. So if it's, for example, something like construction is going to have its own broad NAICS code, and then under that there'll be HVAC and electrical, and they'll each have their own as well. So in this case, you know, in order to qualify, it must be a small business concerned for the primary NAICS code. And as I mentioned, there's limited NAICS codes for this one. I don't know what they all are. I think there's 44 of them. But later on, if you wanted to follow up and get a list of those, we can certainly put you in contact with the office that manages these programs. In this case, and with most of the other ones, there is an office at headquarters dedicated specifically to this program. So lately, I've been actually dealing with these programs a lot, and working directly with that office. So I can certainly put folks in touch with them. I will say as well, the difference between the economically disadvantaged and the regular is just a net worth cap threshold and revenue and other things like that. Whereas there's not that requirement for the general women-owned, and we can provide additional information on that as well. Slide 6, please. Okay, so here's the requirements. We went over this a little bit. NAICS codes 51%. Some of these are kind of duplicative. When I mention control, that means management must be controlled by a woman or women who are U.S. citizens, and that individual must manage the daily business operations of the company and hold the highest position within the company. And that means having managerial experience required to run the company, and those are things that are looked at when applying for the program. And also, the question of control is also deals with devoting full-time attention to the company during normal work hours. And I'll give an example for this. It's something like, if someone's a CEO, but they're not really in charge of the company, let's say somebody else is in charge of the day-to-day operations, then it wouldn't qualify. It has to be somebody with full dedication to the company. But it also could be one or more women must make the long-term decisions for the business. So in that sense, you know, if there's multiple owners and they're women, then that's fine. But it has to be that the ones that are applying for status as women-owned, they have to be in control of the business. Slide 7, please. As I mentioned, there are a little bit of different requirements for the economically disadvantaged women-owned business program. There's net worth thresholds, caps, you could call them, assets, personal net worth of less than 750,000, and a 3-year AGI. That's another acronym, adjusted gross income of 350 or less, and a fair market value of all assets underneath $6 million. And the one that usually is, as I mentioned, the AGI there, you know, if you're thinking you're on the edge there for one of these, certainly the office, the women-owned small business office, can help you answer any of those questions. Let's go to slide 7. No, excuse me, slide 8. So looking into eligibility process, basically you would register on it's not SAM anymore, it's beta.certify.gov, .sba.gov. By the way, that beta.certify.sba.gov is also a really great resource in general on the front end before you get into any, you know, questions that you may want to pose to resource partners and or SBA. It's just a great site. They got all kinds of FAQs, overviews of these programs, and things like that. And then once you're ready to apply, then you would start that process within that portal. And if you did have any questions, which, like I said, I've been getting a few here and there lately, you can certainly reach out to us directly at SBA. And what I do is typically, if I don't have the answer, I'll just put you in contact with that office. We got some points of contact there, and they're very helpful. Slide 9, please. This is just a little bit more about that homepage. You know, you can request information from SBA there as well, and you would have your own account and with your own excuse me, password, and you know, check on your application, check on status and things like that. Slide 10, please. This is exactly what I just went over. I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll skip that one. Slide 11, please. Yeah. So when you are ready to apply, there also is a checklist to guide you through the process. And this is important, I find, with not just this program, but with other programs as well. Because in a lot of cases, especially as, for example, with the economically disadvantaged small business program, just as an example, you're going to need to have, you know, tax returns ready and available, you know, when you apply, personal financial information, information about your yourself, your business, your background, all of those things you're going to want to know and have prepared with you before you start. Obviously, you can go back and forth and you know, get that information later. But I've found when I've talked to companies, especially with not just this program, but with the 8A program, that they find it valuable to go over these checklists so that they know upfront what they need. Slide 12, please. These dates are actually in the past, and that deals a little bit with some of the switches that occurred. We won't really dwell on this too much, but basically it dealt with a switch from one portal to another, but everything is on the bottom one that's mentioned there now, beta.certify.sba.gov. Slide 13, please. And like I said, this is a recent presentation. I don't know why they leave these in here, but we don't really need to dwell on this either. All these things are already switched over, so it's you'll get all the information you need on the Certify website. Slide 14, please. Just as an example, these used to be third-party certifiers. Currently, I think because of the transition, they were still accepting some of them, but I can confirm that. But I will give you this information if you wanted to reach out to some of these third-party certifiers. Additionally, as it applies to certifications in general, a lot of the questions that I get revolve around the question of what is this certification good for, like who accepts it? And that question is important because some of those other ones listed here, you know, if you're interested in doing work, let's say with the city or a municipality or a county or a state, certain certifications are not going to apply. And I'll give you an example. I was talking with an applicant recently, a woman trying to look into the woman-owned small business certification, the federal one that we're talking about. But she didn't want to do any work with the federal government. She was looking to do work with the city of Los Angeles and potentially the state of California. So after talking about it, you know, I told her that it was probably a good idea to talk with the SBDC and the PTAC, and always ask who accepts this certification. And for her purposes, she was still interested in the federal one because at some point she thought she would get into federal work, but not in the short term. So these resources are still good for looking at other opportunities for certifications that can be used by other parties external to the federal government. Give me 1 second. I had to switch my view up here. We can skip slide 15. These are more program changes. And let's go to slide 16. Oh, okay. So, you know, looking at how to get the most out of the women-owned small business program, and keep in mind, like I said, a lot of this applies to some of these other programs. There's 444 NAICS codes eligible for set-asides and sole sources, 364 for women-owned, and 80 for economically disadvantaged women-owned. And the list of eligible NAICS codes are available at sba.gov/WOSB. both self-certified and third-party certified businesses must provide eligibility. You got to provide eligibility documents in Certify. And these are important, great programs to look at, but it's also very important to look at which ones apply. If you're in an industry that, you're not in one of those NAICS codes, then maybe this is not the program for you, and you might want to look at other ones. There's always certainly other opportunities out there. And there's also associated with this program, access to training, management, technical assistance programs, guaranteed loans, and bonding assistance. This is also a very valuable piece right here that I want to highlight, because a lot of times folks coming into the federal contracting space or contracting in general might not have a lot of experience with contracting, and these courses are really, really terrific. There's so many subjects. I get them every week. In my capacity of what I do, I'm also in charge of the 8A program after participants are already in. And usually we get every week those technical training programs are called 7J programs. Also, when I mentioned 8A, those, like I said, there's a lot of acronyms, and there's a lot of other, I guess, coded wording, right? Those two actually just come from the regulation. That's the number it is in the regulation that when it was created. So 7J basically are training courses. I'll give you an example of some. How to manage a contract, how to market to contracting officers, how to come up with a capability statement, how to develop compliance processes to keep you in good stead with managing contracts. All these type of things, there's constant training on them, and that's one of the big benefits of this program and a lot of the programs is access to those training resources. Slide 17, please. So we had talked a little bit about the set-asides as well. The set-asides, as I mentioned, for this one are 5%. I mentioned as well the 444 and the 80 applied. And in this case, for there's what's called a rule of two. Contracting officer has reasonable expectations that 2 or more women-owned small businesses will submit an offer, and the award price is the contract must be awarded at a fair market price. And that's typical of most contracts. I mean, they're all going to be awarded at a fair market price. That doesn't really differ from general contracts. Slide 18, please. So this is a little bit about sole source. In general, as I mentioned, a sole source contract is a contract where the contracting officer does not need to compete the contract. And in order to make that award to one of these types of businesses, the following conditions have to be met. Is the contract in a woman-owned or economically disadvantaged woman-owned eligible NAICS code, as we've discussed? Is the contract including options valued at 6.5 million or less for manufacturing contracts, or 4 million or less for all other contracts? And notice those numbers. I mean, those are not insignificant numbers. So you can ideally, as an example, if you're in one of these NAICS codes, you can get a sole source contract for anything under 4 million for the broader category of NAICS codes. And can the contract be awarded at a fair and reasonable price? And that goes to just in general how you're pricing things when you make contract offers to the federal government. And lastly, is there within the determination, is there a reasonable expectation that there is only one woman-owned small business or economically disadvantaged that can perform that? And this all goes to the fact that the WSB program is a business development program without authority to make a direct award. So it's important to recognize this distinction, that the certification program is a business development program that includes the technical assistance that I mentioned earlier. Now, the agencies are required to prepare and approve justification and approval of the contracts. That's the actual, the contracting vehicle that would provide those benefits. Slide 19, please. This is a little bit of a duplicative one. I'll just re-emphasize the bottom part here. One of the big benefits here for building your opportunity to build capacity and grow through set-asides and sole source contracts is also access to training and all those technical assistance programs. If you want more information on those two, I can certainly send you more information on those. Slide 20, please. Give me 1 second here. This is a large, probably one of the largest, most complex programs, the 8A Business Development Program. And as I mentioned, this is the program that I have oversight of at the district office level. And just for context as well, that's kind of once a company comes in, whatever area they're in, then they would be under the portfolio for that district office. And we have 6 throughout the state of California, and there's dozens of offices throughout the country. So in any state you would be in, or doing work as it applies to construction, you would be dealing with the district office as it applies to this program. It doesn't want to go forward. Bear with me here. Technology issues here. 1 second. Let's go. Slide 21, please. So this program is designed to assist socially and economically disadvantaged small businesses and allow them to better compete in the federal marketplace. Did we move to slide 21? I still see the blue screen, but that could have frozen up on me.
Carlos?
Yes, hello?
Yeah, you just turn off your camera. So would you please turn on your camera?
Okay, now we're on the right one. Oh, okay, let me look at that. Sure, give me a second.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, thank you.
All right, now we're on the right one. So a certified firm for this program has the potential to do some of the similar things, to receive sole source contracts. That's those no competition contracts. And the numbers are similar. It's a little higher in this one. It's 4.5 million for goods and services, including construction, and 7.5 million for manufactured requirements. So just a little bit more. This is a broader category, I guess. And the federal government has specified annual prime contracting goals for designated small businesses. For small disadvantaged businesses, which includes the 8A program, it's a 5%. So this one, the previous one's 5%, the other one's 5% as well. This is a term program. It's for 9 years. The first 4 years are considered developmental stage, and the last 5 years are considered transitional stage that have what's called BAT requirements. And I'll talk a little bit about that. Those stand for, BAT stands for business acquisition targets. So continuation in the program is dependent upon the firm's continued eligibility. And this is what I deal with directly. As a socially and economically disadvantaged firm with day-to-day management control by the individual who is based, who the eligibility is based on. And the program provides business development support as well, technical assistance. So as I mentioned, you're going to notice some common themes there. Let's go to slide 22. So number one, you got the technical assistance. The government contracting is the second part. You know, the goal is to help these disadvantaged business understand and succeed in government contracting. It's a business development program similar to the previous one, and to assist and graduate firms to allow them to thrive competitively. And there's ways that the program is set up to support that transition. And as I mentioned, this is the name of these programs often comes from the regulation. In this case, it's Section 204 of Public Law 100-656. The requirement also stipulates the 51% owned and controlled by socially and economically disadvantaged. Let's go to slide 24. Oh no, 23, sorry. So same thing here. You're going to look at is if this program is appropriate for you. NAICS codes, are you socially and economically disadvantaged? Do you have a diminished ability to compete? There is a requirement for 2 years in business for this one, though. Actually, when we go to 23, I think we got ahead of ourselves here. On mine, it shows 23. It's the next one. I think you're seeing something different than me. I don't know why. That's all right. We'll just move through these. That's all right. It may have been a different version I sent you there, but the information's the same. As I mentioned, there's a you have to be in business for 2 years, and this is going to be verified by federal tax returns. Give me 1 second though. Let me. Oh, I see which one you're on. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and keep speaking on this, and we'll. On mine, that's 25. So you can just leave it on that one, and then I'll let you know when we get there and get past that.
Carlos, we don't have 23.
I couldn't hear you.
We don't have 23.
That's fine. Like I said, we can stay on the one you're on right now, and I'll tell you when to switch forward if we're good. We can do that. Okay, so continuing, you'll notice, as I mentioned, a lot of the same requirements. 51% unconditionally and directly owned. There's the question of a control comes into play as well. That person needs to be 100% in control of the company. It needs to be owned by a socially and economically disadvantaged individual who are citizens of the United States, except for Indian tribes, Alaska Native corporations, Native Hawaiian organizations, or community development corporations. So these are some additional categories. And socially and disadvantaged firms whose ability to compete in free enterprise has been impaired due to diminished capital or credit opportunities, as well as those who have been subject to racial or ethnic prejudice, cultural bias in American society. And there's some that I'm going to mention here that are already identified. So for initial Ada eligibility, there's these thresholds as well as mentioned on the other one. So the net worth of the individual coming in claiming disadvantage must be less than $250,000. For continued eligibility, the net worth must be less than $750,000. So once you're already in, obviously, you know, the goal is to be working to receive government contracts. So once you're already in, that goes up to $750,000. As long as you're under $750,000, you would still be eligible. And we'll go to the next one that you're on. So these are the rules for the program. As I mentioned, these are very, very complex programs. In particular, this one, there's the rule requirements are all listed here in 13 CFR Part 124 eligibility, and then there's the FAR as well that deals with 8A contracts and all the requirements for awarding those contracts. There's also size requirements and disadvantage criteria that deal with whether an individual applicant falls into those pre-identified categories. And I have them all listed here in my notes. if you wanted to read or start reading this CFR, I can certainly send it to you. And it would be a good idea on the front end if you're looking to apply for this program. I will say as well, it typically takes, in order to get approved into this program, an average of 12 to 18 months. So it's not a short runway in terms of, the length of time. And there is a lot of research required up front, and there's a lot of exchange of information with the program management at headquarters. Next slide, please. So, like I said, there's this 2 years in business requirement. There is a waiver for the 2 years. I haven't seen it happen very many times, and most of the time, just as a general, rule of thumb, this is not 100%, but it's in something that the government has a very particular need for at that time. I'm sure it may have come up during the pandemic where certain things they may have allowed companies to sell to the federal government that had maybe less than 2 if they needed certain things. Excuse me. I know that in the past I've dealt with companies in one field in particular where that requirement has been waived, which is cybersecurity. So see, these are some of the reasons the SBA may waive the 2-year rule. I wouldn't depend on it. Like I said, I don't see it happen very much. Next slide, please. So I had mentioned some identified groups, right? So these are designated groups, and this is a list of them. If you fall into one of these categories, then you would fall into that designation for socially disadvantaged. Asian Pacific American actually has a very long list. I won't go into everything, but I can certainly provide this information. It actually lists specific countries of origin, and I'll mention a couple here. There's more, but they start with origins from Burma, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia. I'll mention them all. This list isn't that long. Singapore, Brunei, Japan, China, Taiwan, Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, Korea, the Philippines, U.S. Trust Territory of the Pacific Islands, Republic of the Marshall Islands, Federal State of Micronesia, Northern Mariana Islands, Guam, Samoa, Macau, Fiji, Tonga, Kiribati, Tavula, or Nauru. Also, keep in mind that there's a list of categories that deal with Native Americans. There's a list as well. Alaska Natives, Native Hawaiians, enrolled members of federally or state recognized Indian tribes. And if they're not an enrolled member of a federally or state recognized Indian tribe individual, there must be a preponderance of evidence. And that applies to other scenarios where maybe an applicant says, I don't fall into one of these categories. They can still apply and provide that information, which is called a preponderance of evidence. There's also a subcontinent, Asia American, that is and has its own list. I'll mention those as well. Individuals with origins from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Bhutan, Maldives Islands, Nepal. Small businesses believe if the firm is approved for disadvantaged business certification by their state or entity, the firm automatically is eligible for SBA certification, and this is not so. See, as you can see, the requirements on this program are very, very specific. So, just because, as I mentioned before, if an individual thinks, well, I apply, I qualify for this program, I should qualify for this other program. That's not necessarily true. So it's important just to get confirmation. And I had one, the other day. It was a question not associated with this, but an eligibility question that I didn't really know the answer to. But if you have those questions, feel free to contact myself or our office. And, your hosts have all of our contact information, and I'll provide it additionally if necessary as well. And we can just answer those one-off questions, or if you have a few of them. about some of the qualification requirements. Next slide, please. These are very similar as I mentioned earlier. Thresholds for fair market value of assets, almost the same as the women's program. Same on the top, 750 once you're into the program, so we won't harp on that. Next slide, please. Size requirements. This size requirement it deals with. Give me 1 second. This size requirement deals with the size thresholds that are set up as associated with the NAICS codes. So a little background on that. Each individual NAICS codes has its own requirement for size based on revenue or number of employees. Number of employees usually for manufacturing, dealers, and wholesalers. And there's also more information on this in the CFR. You can also get broad information by going to sba.gov/size, and then you'll be able to find out all the information related to that. So as an example, you would go there and look up your particular NAICS code and look at the size requirements, and it'll tell you, I'll give you an example that I see very commonly. For a lot of them, it's around, I guess they were raised recently, it's around 16 million or 16.5 million. So, if you're in a particular NAICS code and your annual revenue is 20 million a year, you wouldn't qualify. But if you're, at 5 or 10, just as in this example, then you would. So the next one is ownership. Needs to be at least, as I mentioned with the previous, 51% unconditional ownership by the disadvantaged individual or individuals, whether that be a partnership, an LLC, a corporation. The SBA will review partnership agreements, stock certificates and ledgers, IRS information. There's also the control and management requirement, hold the highest position, highest compensated individual as well. This is a unique one to this one. And there are some situations where there can be a waiver for the highest compensated individual, but that's rare as well. Let's say that you're doing something science and technology related, and you have subject matter experts come in. Let's say you have some PhD scientists, and because of the nature of the work that they do, some of them might be higher compensated. But the general rule is that the participant must be the highest compensated individual. Some other eligibility requirements: 2 years in operation, as I mentioned, financial capability. All these things related to capacity will be discussed or reviewed during the application process. Need to have management and technical capability. They'll be looking at everybody's resumes and ability to perform on federal contracts. Character, what shows the lack of good character? That would be adverse information regarding criminal conduct, any person who's incarcerated on parole, probation, violations of any SBA regulations, debarred or suspended, lack of business integrity. This was the question that I got recently, so just for context. The question that I received, and here's the answer, I guess, a little example. If an individual has ever defaulted on an SBA loan, can they apply for and be admitted to the 8A program? And the answer is no. So if anybody had defaulted on an SBA loan, then they're not eligible. Let me see. I think I skipped some. Okay, no, we're good to go. Next slide, please. So the 8A program, it is a business development program, as I mentioned, and it offers a broad scope of assistance to firms that are at least 51 controlled by the socio and economically disadvantaged individual. The goal is to assist and graduate those firms so that they can thrive in the competitive environment of government contracting. And the SBA supports that as well through the technical assistance that's provided, in this case 7J training. And 8A firms are also able to form joint ventures to bid on contracts or form mentor protege programs, which we'll talk a little bit about, which allows the small business to learn the ropes from other more experienced businesses. Next slide, please. So these are some expectations, setting expectations, overviews here. Is the bit, as I mentioned, it's a business development program. Participants are in no way guaranteed or entitled to receive federal contracts, which is often a misconception that once you get into the program, you're going to automatically get contracts, which is not true. There still is the requirement to do a lot of your own self-marketing. That's the main way that contracts are going to be awarded. So you need to maintain a balance between between commercial and government contracts. During the transition years, there's a business activity target, and it starts low. It starts at 15, then it goes up to 25, 30, and meets 50 at year 9. And basically what that means is that the business should be not completely dependent upon federal contracts, and you could kind of try to scale it starting at year 5 and going to the end of the program, so that by the end of the program, individuals are prepared for being successful via a good hybrid of federal and non-federal contracts. Next slide, please. Well, that's I got ahead of myself there. So this is the just a little look, developmental, and it does take a lot of time. And most firms that get in, you might not receive a contract in that first year. I hadn't seen any until recently. I had one got her first contract within her first year. That's in our portfolio now. So that's not to say it's impossible. It can happen. Firms do it. I mean, there's many district offices throughout the country. I'm sure a lot of them see it. So to maintain eligibility as well, it's important. The portion I deal with is this first part here that says submit an 8A annual update on time. Every year, firms in this program need to submit for an annual review, and that's basically submitting all your financials again, submitting everything, not everything, but almost everything that was submitted initially to get into the program. W-2s, personal financial information, information on the revenues of the program, net worth of individual participants, all those types of things. Give me 1 second here. And there's other requirements. One in particular, anything that changes for the firm needs to be reported to SBA. For example, SBA needs to have prior written approval if the business structure changes. So let's say you wanted to go from an LLC to an S Corp, then you would need to let us know. Also need to maintain DSB, SAM and DSBS profiles. This is an important one to go on and look at. I'm going to mention this one for research purposes. This one down here at the bottom that says DSBS, that stands for Dynamic Small Business Search. You can do that type of research on the front end as well. I talk to current participants about the value of this. Federal agencies can go on there and look for companies, and let's say they were looking for firms to do sole source. They can go on there. This is public information as well, by the way. If you wanted to look at other firms, type of work that they're doing, what agencies that they're doing work for, all this type of information, this is a great place to kind of poke around a little bit and look on their website and just look through company profiles and see what they're doing. Next slide, please. So this is the, by the way, I know we're getting up to about 10:36 here, and I'm going to go till about 10:45, and then we'll stop and see if we have any questions. I might start skipping through some of these real quick. I know this is as I mentioned, this is a really, really long presentation and a lot of information. So if we needed to come back and go over some of the other information later, we certainly could, and I can provide more context. But here's a quick overview of how to apply. First, you have to have a DUNS number. You have to identify your primary NAICS code, register with SAM, go on to certified.sba.gov. And great resources for this are your MBDA and your small business development centers, and also the PTAC, who really deals specifically with government contracting. Next slide, please. We already talked a lot about certified. We can skip this one. This is the business development that's available. Once a company is in, they get an orientation at the district office. They also get referrals and training, as I mentioned. Marketing, invitation to business development events, things that are put on by SBA, and information about other ones. And there's also access to surety bond programs. Next slide, please. This one's very similar. I'm not going to harp on this slide either to the woman-owned. This is information about how the program creates value, and it's really sole source and set-asides and technical assistance if you wanted to distill it. Next slide. So the next one is the service disabled veteran-owned business. This actually program was managed out of VA, Department of Veterans Affairs. It's transitioning to SBA right now, currently. So the expectation is that it will transfer by next year. So we're right in the middle of the transition phase. There's a lot of movement on this program right now in terms of new FAQs about the program, what the transition looks like, the value and benefit of the program. So this one, as I mentioned, this one is kind of right in the middle of transitioning. So there's a lot of new information. If you're interested in this, I'm actually a veteran myself. If you're interested in more information on this one, I can certainly provide it. Next slide, please. So this program was establishing the criteria to be used in federal contracting is whether an individual is service disabled veteran. And this is an important distinction because it's not a program for all veterans. It's a program for service disabled veterans. And there's requirements associated with that, namely that there is a service disabled disability rating provided by the VA. And then after that, a lot of the other requirements are similar to the previous ones we discussed. 51% ownership, there has to be control, things like that. Next slide, please. As I mentioned, you'll see here very similar themes. We're not going to harp on this because it's almost the same as these other programs. I will say that the difference here is that the goal for the program, as opposed to 5% for the previous two, is 3% for this one. Next slide, please. You'll notice here, same kind of thing for this one on this slide. We'll skip, trying to get through as many of these as we can. Next slide. Now, I had mentioned this one briefly earlier. The Sba Mentor Protege program is a fantastic program for partnering with other companies, typically that have already been in the that have already been in the program before, the 8A program. Most cases, those are programs that are maybe in the transition phase and have started to look at things that they can do to support their function for moving out of the program. It's important to remember a distinction here, though, And that distinction is that the mentor protege program is the business development portion of it, and the actual contracting vehicle is the joint venture. They're two separate things. So once a company forms a joint venture, let's say, a mentor protege program, company A is partnered with company B, the entity, they would create a joint venture, which would be kind of its own entity, and the one that would apply for the contracts would be the joint venture. Let's see. Okay, next slide, please. So the purpose of the mentor protege program is to provide the small business development assistance. So the protege should be getting some enhanced ability via the participation in the program, and the way it does that is the protege pairs with a mentor company, usually that larger business. Most cases, maybe it's been in the 8A program, and that's so that they can build capacity, right? So they can learn more about contracts and learn how to grow and compete on federal contracts. There always is a question of does SBA or does the federal government do the partnering? And the answer is no. And you really wouldn't want the federal government to be partnering you up with another company. Anyway, the best way to move forward with this is to find a company based on what you're doing that you feel would benefit you as a protege. And it's also important to recognize these things get reviewed by SBA. SBA does not authorize MPAs for which no work has been documented in a secondary NAICS code. Also, SBA is going to be looking at what advantage does the protege receive from its involvement with the program. Next slide, please. So the applicant has to have a mentor identified, as I mentioned, prior to applying for the program. SBA is not going to partner you up on one. You have to do an online tutorial. Both the mentor and the protege have to complete the courses and upload the completion certificates, file as part of the application. They have to be for-profit or an agricultural cooperative. There's many other requirements of this program. The one of the main ones is the split of the work that is done on the contract. So, for example, mentors cannot own more than 40% equity in the protege business as well. But once they're applying to do the work, there's requirements for the amount of work that needs to be done by the protege. So, for example, if two companies enter into mentor protege arrangement and they receive a contract, you can't have an environment where the mentor does 80% of the work and the protege only does 20. There are still allowances for those two parties to subcontract as well, and there's caps on those as well. I think it's a 60-40 split, and then of the 60% split that the company would have to have, the protege has to perform at least 50% of that split, and 40% can be subcontracted. Don't quote me on that though. I think I might have been off on that, but there is a good overview sheet that I can provide on the splits. The important thing to remember here is that there are very outlined requirements for the amount of work that needs to be performed on these contracts by each party involved. Next slide, please. So for getting the most out of the protege program, it's the same as before. It's a business development program. Joint venture, the actual joint venture used to be a requirement that all of them were reviewed by legal staff at SBA. One of the big changes recently was that that requirement was removed, except for as it applies to sole source contracts. So in general, I mean, there's pros and cons to that. I think the general benefit in the past was that if those were reviewed by our legal folks, there was a greater maybe assurance that the way that the joint venture was written was explicitly set up to ensure that the protege was protected in the terms of the contract, and now we're not reviewing it, so it's still probably recommended that the proteges get someone to review that and ensure that the rights and responsibilities are all outlined and set up in a way to protect the parties that are involved. Next slide, please. We're going to skip this. We're getting to the end of the time here. More information on joint. I want to quickly discuss Hubzone. As I mentioned, this is the only program within the certification programs that's not based upon the socioeconomic disadvantage of the individual. This is based upon what has been identified as historically underutilized business zones. Next slide, please. And SBA has a map of these. They're based on census tracts and information that it gets from census, which is part of Commerce. The Hubzone goal is also 3%, and there's a lot of requirements that go along with this program. There's a minimum requirement for the number of employees that live in the actual Hubzone, in a Hubzone. This is an important distinction as well. So there's a requirement for a certain minimum percentage of employees that live in a Hubzone. It doesn't need to be the Hubzone where the business is. So let's say that there's two adjacent Hubzones and they live in another one, but it's still a Hubzone, then that would count. By the way, just as before I get ahead of myself, I know we're getting to the end here, so I'm kind of trying to speed up. The definition of a Hubzone is an area designated are typically areas of low to medium household income, high employment, or both. And they provide unemployment opportunities for the underserved is the goal of these programs. The federal government has provided specified annual prime contracting goals for designated small businesses. And as I mentioned, for this one, it's 3%. You can also see the map to find out, hey, am I in one of these zones? I've helped folks with this as well. Some of them are from the interactive map. Based on what I've seen, it's very easy to tell whether your business or home are located in there. You go to sba.gov/content-hubzone -maps, and I can send that to folks as well. There's 6 different kinds of Hubzones. We're not going to have time for that. Let's go to the next slide. Let's skip through these. I want to keep going. And we're down to about 10 minutes. We're going to skip through all the Hubzone information. Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought it was the last one. There is more information that's available on these Hubzones and the requirements of the program. I will say it does require site visits and recertification similar to the 8A program, which means we go out and look at the actual location of the facility, make sure that there's proper signage and that there's actually business being done there. It's not a shared space, other things like this. It is a 35%, as I mentioned earlier, Hubzone employee residency requirement. So that means 35% minimum of the employees need to live in a Hubzone, not that particular Hubzone. That's the end of the presentation. I wanted to leave a little bit of time. I know that's a whole lot of information, and that's because I skipped through it, a lot of it. I want to make sure that we hit each one of the uh, uh, subject matter, but for each individual one, as I mentioned, there's much more deep dive information that we can get into and I can provide information on. As I mentioned, the hosts have my contact information, but for anyone that wants it, I'll just say it right now. It's carlos.gutierrez@sba.gov. Feel free to reach out to us. You can also look at information about these programs and general SBA and San Francisco area-based information by going to our website. As I mentioned, San Francisco District Office for the Small Business Administration. I'll stop there and turn it over to our host to see if there's just a few questions we may have at the end here, and then we can turn it over and move forward.
Thank you so much, Carlos. Thank you for your wonderful presentation and for the information that for our small business owners. So at this moment, I will recognize our organizers and partners again. This event is organized by 3 organizations: American Tujo Foundation, another is APAPA National, and Silicon Valley Community Media, Dvde TV, and our partners are Asian Inc., Silicon Valley Central Chamber of Commerce, U.S.-China Chamber of Commerce Silicon Valley, Oakland Chinatown Chamber of Commerce, CBC Minority Business Development Agency, Ethnic Media Service, Yuan Media, CBC Life Financial Service, Eric Zhang Associates. At this moment, I would also like to invite our Vice Mayor from San Jose, Chappie Jones, to the stage and say a few words. Thank you for coming. I know you've been so busy running around.
Thank you. I want to say greetings to all the folks who are here in person as well as online. It's an honor and privilege to be here to speak at this event. I want to let everybody know that the city of San Jose is going to spend over $3 billion in contracts over the next 5 years. And we are working hard to see that those contracts, or a good portion of those contracts, go to small businesses. So if you have a small business, you're interested in contracting with the city of San Jose, please reach out to our team and we will get you connected to the right people. I'm also the chair of VTA, or the Valley Transportation Authority, and we are in the process of initiating a project, the BART project, which is going to be over $7 billion in contracts. So between the city of San Jose and VTA, we're talking about over $10 billion of contracting opportunities that we're trying to encourage small businesses to go after, whether it's going after those contracts directly or being a subcontractor to a prime contractor. So please reach out to the VTA team, reach out to my team, and let's get you connected and engaged and involved. So we're doing some pretty innovative programs in San Jose. We started a construction academy. And what that means is if you're a small business and you want to do business with the city of San Jose and you want to do business in construction, you can actually go through this academy and you'll be pre-qualified to do business with the city of San Jose as well as other municipalities. And so the beauty of that is if you've never worked on a government contract, you just got to go through the academy, you graduate, and then you're pre-qualified to do contracting with the city of San Jose. We also created a special pool a contracting pool of just made up of small businesses. So you're competing against other small businesses, and so there will be a small business that will win that contract. So it might be 3 small businesses that are competing against each other. It might be 6 or another number, but it's only small businesses that will be competing. So there are so many other programs that the City of San Jose is doing, that VTA is doing, that other cities and counties are doing in order to see that small businesses thrive and get contracts. And we're particularly focused on the Asian business community. So we're working hard to get the word out, to let everybody know these contracts are available. So please, please, go online, identify the opportunities, and then reach out to the city or to VTA and try to win these contracts. Best of luck in the future, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Let's take a picture together. Harry, come here. Let's take. Harry is also one of our organizers. Yeah, and Louis, yeah, probably, yeah, down here. Hey, Louis, come here. Our vice mayor from San Jose, Chappie Juice. Yeah, Louis is also one of our organizers. Come here, Louis. Come on. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes. Yes, sure. Yeah. And we would like to connect with our vice mayor from San Jose and definitely reach out to the resource and opportunities. Yeah. Thank you so much for the information. Thank you. Okay, so next, our next speaker is ready there. I would like to introduce her before she take over. Our next speaker will be Teresa Macias Reitz, State of California Department of General Service, Bilingual Business Outreach Liaison. And she's going to talk about how to do business with the state of California. Teresa, stage is yours. Thank you so much for waiting.
Thank you so much. I'm going to share my screen so I can present. Oh, I hope it's not going to give me a hard time. Screen number 2.
Yes, so Katrina, can you authorize Teresa to share the screen? Thank you. Yes, we can see you right now. And
can you see my presentation?
Your presentation, not yet. Not yet.
It was giving me a hard time.
Can you show your presentation yourself?
I am trying to show it. Supposedly it's on already, but
oh yeah, now we can see it. It's
now
green.
You can see the presentation?
Yes, is that green color?
Yeah, I'm not able to see that I'm presenting it, and I was able to share.
Yes, are you sharing right now?
I was. I don't know what happened, but it's been giving me a hard time. They do have my presentation. Can they share it for me?
Okay, let's try.
Yeah, because it's not letting me do it.
Oh. Yeah, we're doing that. Thank you so much for your patience.
Sorry about that. Technical difficulties.
Yeah, this is a hybrid meeting, so we have audience on site and we have online audience. And we have a simultaneous interpreter to translate that into Chinese, the real time. Yes, you hear me, and this is Diana, and I'm the founder of Dvde Silicon Valley Community Media. Yes, we have a team working on this right now. Yeah, thank you so much for the effort and preparation. Yeah, we just had a wonderful speech from Colors. Yeah, we're looking forward to hear from you. It's important that we learn how to do business with California State.
Yes.
Many of the minority Asian-owned business, they never get opportunities, and they don't know how to work with government. Yes, So wonderful. We're still trying to.
Yeah,
Katrina.
give us 1 minute
Okay.
to play the PowerPoint.
Okay, sure.
For Teresa, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, have you guys authorized Teresa to be the co-host that she can present the PPT by herself?
She is already shared on the screen.
Oh, she shared on the screen. Okay. Then can we see that? Okay.
I wasn't able to share this.
Yes.
Yeah. So are you sharing or am I sharing?
Can you share screen? Can you try that by yourself? If you can try share the screen, that would be wonderful.
I hope so. Let me try it, but it wasn't letting me do it. So let's see.
They have authorized you as a co-host. So yeah, great. We can see it. Wonderful.
Can you see it now?
Yes, we can see it. Perfect.
Great. All right. So
yeah,
my name is Teresa Macias Ruiz, and I'm going to be presenting to you the how to do business with the California state government. There is my information. I am a bilingual business outreach liaison with the Office of Small Business and Dvde Services at California Department of General Services. My email address is there, and you can also reach me at businessoutreach@dgs.ca.gov. We will be sharing the slides, I believe. I sent them to you guys, so you guys are going to be able to get a copy of it and be able to click on it and email us if you need to. All right, here are the topics that we're going to be discussing. We're going to go over the Sbdbbe certification program. We're also going to go over Cali Procure Registration and Certification. Important keywords and UNSPSC codes, bid solicitations or contracts, the Sbdbbe Advocates. We're going to go over the commercially useful function or CUF, which is very important because it's law, and something fairly new, shy of a year, Sbdbbe Emergency Registry. We're going to give you some resources that can help you through the process, and we're going to start. So the state of California has goals, okay, contracting goals. Out of all the money that I spent, 25% of those dollars we want to go to small businesses, and 3% towards disabled veteran business enterprises. Just to put it into perspective, in fiscal year 2019-2020, $463 million, or 3.8% of all the contract dollars went towards DBBEs, and $2.8 billion went to SBs or small businesses. Now that we didn't quite achieve the goal. It was a shy of 2%, right? 25% is our aspirational goal, and we reached 23.7%. So let's talk about the certifications. We have 3: small business or SB, small business for the purpose of public works, SBPW, or the disabled veteran business enterprise, or DVBE. We're gonna speak about the eligibility requirements. So your business must be independently owned and operated. You cannot be dominant in the field of operation, meaning you can't be a prime, like AT&T, Microsoft, I don't know, there's many big companies. Your office must be located in California. We want the benefits to go towards small businesses. And then the owners or officers, in the case of a corporation, they also have to live in California. And together with affiliates, if there are any, you have to have 100 or less employees, and your gross annual receipts it just went up to by 1 million. It used to be 15 million, now it's 16 million. Okay, it's an average in the past 3 years. So as you can make 1 year 20 million, the other one, I don't know, 10, and then the other one 8, you're still gonna be average below the 60 million, you're gonna be fine. A manufacturer doesn't have a gap on their gross annual receipts, but they do have a cap on the employees, so they have to have 100 or less. That's if you're a manufacturer. Now, for the small business for public works, the first 4 requisites are the same exact as a small business. The difference here is with affiliates, you can go up to 200 employees, and your gross annual receipts can be 37 million or less. Okay, so, and that's an average, just like with the small business. Now let's talk about the Dvde eligibility requirements. So to be eligible, you have to, you must be at least 10% service disabled, which means that you must have served in the US military, naval, Air Force, you know, that kind of stuff, to be able to qualify for this, right? Your company must be at least 51% owned by one or more disabled veteran. And if it's a limited liability company, it has to be wholly owned by one or more disabled veteran. Your daily operations, they do have to be managed and controlled by one or more disabled veteran. It doesn't have to be the owner, okay? The owner has to be a disabled veteran, but it could be your manager has to be, it could be someone else managing the company, but it has to be a disabled veteran. And the home office has to be located in the US, and it cannot be a branch or subsidiary of a foreign corporation, firm, or other foreign-based businesses. Any questions at this time? I'm gonna take it as a no if I don't hear anything and just continue on. Let's talk about the benefits of having the certification. The first thing is it doesn't cost you anything, it's free. You get inclusion into the state's goals to spend 25% of all contract dollars with SBs and 3% with DBBEs. You get certified for 2 years. After 3 months before the certification expires, you'll get an email telling you that you have to reapply. And then your business is added into the state's California Certified Business Database, and that is in Cali Procure. That is our one-stop shop market where you can search for other businesses. You can try to locate primes that may want to work with you. You find contracts. You can place free ads. And the state agencies, they use Cali Procure to find you, to find small businesses, okay, and other primes as well. You will have access to contract opportunities that are exclusive to certified businesses, or and that's the Sbdbbe option. So with this option, buyers will ask for a quote directly to 2 certified SBs or 2 certified DBBEs. So they'll look for you in Cali Procure and they'll email you directly. And this will increase your chances, right, of getting a contract with the state. More benefits. So as a certified SB, you can have up to a 5% incentive for DBBEs and a 5% bid preference for SBs. So if you qualify for DBBE, as a DBBE, you might qualify as an SB. So if you do qualify for 2, get the 2 certifications, because if you are dual certified, you can get up to 10% with the incentive and the bid preference. Okay, let me explain how the SB preference goes. So we have 2 bidders. A is not certified, B is. They bid 100,000 and 102,000. Normally, it goes to the lowest bidder. But with the 5% SB preference, we take 5% from the lowest bid, and now we're going to subtract it from the certified bid, right, which is 102, which will give us a 97,000 bid. So bidder A is not going to get the contract, but it's not going to get it for the 97,000. It's going to get it for the $102,000. That's how it will benefit your small business. Okay. continuing with benefits. Prime contractors can get the benefits of your certification if they self-contract with your business, okay? And we have reciprocity partners, which we have about 59 between cities, counties, special districts, university systems, and utilities. And these 59 partners accept our certification, okay? You can find them in Cali Procure. So that's our website, www.caliprocure.com. I'm going to show you where you can find our partners. So if you're on the main page, you click on Find Training and Resources, and then you scroll down to where it says Resources to Grow Your Business, and then you click on Leverage Your State Certifications, right? This will open up another web page, and this is where it will have a little bit of information about our reciprocity partners, as well as all of the partners that we have this kind of reciprocity or deal with them, okay? Partnership. All right. You also have the Prom Payment Act, which if you're a certified small business, it doesn't apply to the DVBEs, but if you're a certified small business, you'll get higher late payment penalties for undisputed invoices. That means that, so the state has 45 days to pay for an undisputed invoice. That means that the state accepted it as you submitted it and it's undisputed. That's when it starts the 45 days, okay? And you can find information about prompt payment, again, in Cali Procure. I'll show you where it is. From the main page, you click on Get Certified, and then you click on Prompt Payment Program Assistance, which will open up the page that contains all the information, including contact information, phone number, and email, where you can, if you have any questions about prompt payment, you can email them or call them. Any questions at this point? Okay. Now we're going to go into Cali Procure. So in Cali Procure, you can register, you can apply for Sb and Dvde certification. You're certified for 2 years, which I mentioned before. You can look for bid solicitations and contracts. Doesn't cost you a penny. And again, I know I put .com. If you put caliprocure.com, it will get you into Cali Procure just the same way as if you click on caliprocure.ca.gov. Okay, there's just 2 ways of doing it. All right, so if you are in our main page, right top corner, login register, then you'll click on new bidder registration. You'll fill 6 pages of information that is going to be requested of you. The ones that you have to answer are marked with an asterisk. It's basically your business information, which includes, name, email, website if you have any, tax ID, and that kind of stuff. Okay, contact information, that kind of information. That's what it will ask you. Once you've done with the 6 pages, you will get this message saying that you successfully registered, right? Then you'll have an email, which you provided in those 6 pages, with your user ID and a temporary password. So you can log in from there, put in your user ID and temporary password, at which time the system will ask you, it will say that it expired, because that's a temporary password. Then you'll go back into the system, right? You'll continue, and you'll put in your old password or the temporary one, and then the password that you're gonna use from now on, and then you'll change the password. At this point, you can start the certification. There's 2 ways in there. You'll see them with the rectangles and the arrows. Get started or apply for certification. Say for whatever reason you couldn't do it because you had to run out and do an errand, it's okay. You can come back to our main page at a later time, and then either click on the top right corner, login or register, Or you can also click on the tile. Anytime you click on those tiles, the 4 tiles are that you see in here, okay, it will take you to an extra step as opposed to if you are using the top information, okay, or the top right corner. So if you click there, you'll have to click on Get Certified or Apply or Reapply. And then this is where you start the certification. If you are still not sure about if you qualify, the information is going to be on the top, okay, all the requirements. So you can easily just click on it and it will open up a 1-pager with the information, okay? But if you think that you qualify for the small business as well as the other ones, okay? Yes, we do have the nonprofits, but we don't speak about those, okay? So if you do qualify for any more than one, go ahead and click it because you want to do it right now. And then you'll click on Next. This is where you begin answering the eligibility questions, okay? Not sure how many pages there are, but there are several of them. And then answer them all. Once you come to this page, that's the terms and conditions. Make sure that you read everything that is in here. You'll have to slide the bar down, click on I accept the terms, and then hit Next. When you do that, oh, in something that I always tell people, before you begin your certification, make sure that you upload all of the required documents prior to you beginning the certification, because it makes everything so much faster, okay? It's so much smoother. So once you do that and you get to this page, you'll just click on the link to attach it, look for your required document. So if it's asking you for federal tax return 2018, save your file that way so you know what you're uploading, and it makes it so much easier. So once you have uploaded everything, then you click on Submit Application. So once you do that, the system will automatically tell you whether it was approved or is going to be reviewed. Okay, in this case, the small business and the small business for public works was auto-approved, and the DBBE was submitted for review. Okay, any questions at this point? Okay. So we're going to talk about keywords in UNSPSC codes. So this is one of the most important parts of your profile, okay? Because this is the area where you're going to describe the goods and services your company can sell. You do this, and not can sell, but sells, okay? You do this in 2 ways, by using keywords and UNSPSC classifications. A keyword is a word that describes a good or a service. So for example, concrete, environmental, legal, door, pencil, fences, whatever it is that your company sells, that's a keyword, okay? A good keyword is individual. Don't put I do environmental, or I deal with environmental legal issues or something like that. Just put environmental. I sell doors. No, just door, okay? And also singular. See how I put door, pencil, not doors and pencils? You want to put, and you can put as many keywords as you, as your company, whatever services and products you sell, okay? And any word can be a keyword. So anything that you do in your company can be a keyword. The United Nations Standard Product and Services Codes, that's what UNSPSC stands for. It is an 8-digit code that identifies a good or service. So anything that your company sells. And it does go by hierarchy. So there's 4 levels, and it goes by 2 numbers. So in the first level, it's the more broad one. It's 14, following by zeros. Level 2 gets a little bit more, but it's still very broad. It's paper materials and products, tells you paper products. Now I always tell people, paper materials and products can include from writing paper to toilet paper to paper plates. I don't know. So, oh, sorry. So we stay with level 3 and level 4 are more specific, and because those tell you more business use, print and writing paper, level 3, and now level 4, it tells you exactly what it is, printer or copier paper. Okay, so those are the 4 levels that we have. This is just an example using paper products and materials and products. I'm just going to keep skipping through the Q&A because I don't think there's any questions at this time. But if there are and you think of any questions, you can always email us too. Okay. Now we're going to talk about bid solicitations. You can find those in the California State Contracts Register, the CSCR. And then you can also find past purchases in the State Contracts and Procurement Registration System, which is SKIPPers. And this again is in Cali Procure. Let me show you how you can find them. So if you see there's a lot of arrows, that's because there is 3 ways. There's 3 ways that you can look for them, okay? The very first one is just for you to log in. The right top one is for you to log in. And why would you wanna, if you're just looking, because if you find a contract that you wanna maybe put an ad on, then if you're already logged in and you're looking at it, you don't have to go back, log in, and then so that it can have your information, okay? So, and there's more things you can do if you're logged in, okay? So the quickest one for you to start the search would be either through quick links, which is the top. Once you click there, the menu, the drop-down menu shows, or the middle rectangle where it says California State, which is this area, right? And then, of course, using the tiles, it will take you to an extra step. So if we were to click on the tile, it will take you to this other page, and then you'll have to click on Find Bid Opportunities. If you click on the other 2, the quick links or the start search, it automatically takes you here. So it's just an extra step. So once you're here, you click on Advanced Search, which is right in the middle. And then this opens up, which has many fields for you to put in information to look for. So I usually use the item description because it's easier for me to know, okay, well, I sell fences, so I can put fence, right? You can also, if you know your UNSPSC code, you can search by code. You can search by service areas, and service areas are the counties of the state, okay? And then you can also search by contractor license type. There's some that are very specific, and maybe you have one that is super specific and you want to see if there's anything for your contractor license type. And then don't choose, just try to limit some of the searches, so don't click on everything at the same time. But you can search by state description and maybe area code at the same time. So here and here, and then you would click on search, and you can also save your search criteria, okay, to make it easier for next time you're looking at it. So once you decide what you want to search by, click on search. So in this case, I believe I searched by construction, and this is an old one, and the old search that I did a while ago, but at that time there were 6 of them. So if you were to click on any of the they call them event name, but it's basically the contract name. Okay, so if you were to click on there, the page will open up, and it has a bunch of good information in here, because this has the contact information of the person selling, not selling, but managing the contract, okay? In this case, they did place a phone number, but if you're communicating with somebody, always try to use email because it's in writing. Just for anything, especially if you're already in negotiations, just use the email so you have everything there. If there was a pre-bid conference, it would be here. And that would mean that you would have to attend a pre-bid conference prior to being able to submit a bid. Okay. On the top part, it has the view event package, post vendor ads, or view vendor ads. Okay. So this is the event package has all of the information that you need, or everything about the contract. Okay. If you wanted to post a vendor ad because you want to do subcontract, then you can click there and a window would open up where it would ask you for basic information that you could just easily do, fill in. Super important, your end date, the event end date. Your bid has to be submitted, and this is an old one, remember, on 2/17/21 at no later than 2 o'clock. So everything, all the paperwork that you were submitting would have to be in there, whatever the means of you submitting it has to be in already into their office by that time. So very important, okay? Now, the way to search for past purchases is through quick links or find public procurement information. So remember, anytime you use the tiles on the bottom, it's going to take you to an extra step. Okay, the extra step will be clicking on past purchases in the skippers. Once you do that, the system is going to think. Okay, it's gonna take a while sometimes, depending on how busy the system is, but it might take a while to come back. Just be patient with it, and if it doesn't work, try it again. Okay, but once the system comes up, you can already begin the search by description. If you click on advanced search, then you can search by Unspsc codes. Why is it important for you to search past purchases? Because you can do market research. You can search for agencies and departments in the state of California that have possibly purchased what your business sells. And you can also look at, if you look on these columns, the supplier ID column, it tells you the competitors, the companies that have gotten a contract, okay, for maybe the same stuff that you sell. So you can search them. You can search their public profile in CaliProcure and maybe borrow some of their keywords or Unspsc if they apply to what you sell. Okay, that's why it's important. And it also has the buyer information. So, but the most important part, I say, is the finding out which agencies buy what you sell and also your competitors. Okay, I'm going to continue just keeping through it. And this leads exactly into the Sbdbbe Advocates. So once you find what agencies sell or purchase what you sell, you can contact an Sbdbbe advocate to ask and see if they're still purchasing or if there's going to be a contract coming up or something like that. You let them know who you are, what your company does. Okay. The advocates, they're state employees. They work in the purchasing at the specific departments that you might want to contact. And they try to help SBs and DBBs with contracts and information, okay? So that's why it's important. I'm going to show you in CaliProcure where you can find the Sbdbbe Advocates. If you're on the main page, you don't even have to be logged in. You can click on Find Training and Resources. You scroll down to where it says Research and Marketing, and then you'll click on Contact a Small Business and DBBE Advocate. Another page will open up, and this has a little bit of information on the advocates, but it also has the ability for you to download the directory. Okay, once you click on Download the Advocate Directory, an Excel spreadsheet will open up with all of the information, the departments, the name of the advocates, and an area. If you're in construction, they will have an X on the line of the next to the departments. Okay, so if you're in construction, you know which departments you can possibly send emails to the advocate. Okay, that's why it's important to do market research so you can contact advocates from departments that have purchased what you sell. All right, so super important, the commercially useful function, because it is the law. We have the Small Business Government Code 14837 D4A. For DBBEs is Military and Veterans Code 999 B5B. And then there's CUF penalties and sanctions if you do not perform CUF, okay? MVC 99.98. So this is how you'll know if you are performing CUF. You're executing a distinct element of the work. You're performing, managing, or supervising the work. You're doing stuff that's normal for your firm's business and functions. You're negotiating, determining the quality and quantity, ordering, installing, and making payments. And you, very important, not subcontracting a portion of the work that is greater than expected by industry practices. So your business doesn't perform CUF if you are an extra participant in a transaction, contract, or project through which funds are passed in order to obtain the appearance of Sbdbbe participation. So if, say, a prime contacts you and they say they're going to use you so they can win the contract, and they pay you, but you don't actually perform the part of the contract that they say you would in the contract, that's not performing, okay? Or if you give it to somebody, it's another company, and you get a small fee from it, that's not performing CUF either. If you're not being used to perform the work as stipulated in the bid, okay? If you're no longer used to provide goods and services listed in the initial bid, if you know this stuff that is happening, you must report it, okay? Because there are monetary and even jail and also sanctions where the state will not put you in like a red list. You're not going to be able to contract with the state. So it's very important. All right, I'm going to keep passing the Q&As. Now, the Sbdbbe emergency registry, this is something important because my department worked hard. Do you remember at the beginning I said that we didn't quite reach the 25% goal for the small businesses? The emergencies had a lot to do with that. Okay, we've had the COVID fires, which is coming up. So that's why my area worked hard to make this Sbdbbe emergency registry, and it's strictly for certified SBs and DBBEs. Okay, so this is a dedicated portal where certified businesses can register. Okay, and this is for emergency goods and services. Unlike Cali Procure, this is only for businesses that can provide those type of emergency products. Okay, so they're predetermined emergency categories, and state departments will be registering in there and can look for you. So this is going to be search for only certified SBs and DBBEs to try to include you in these billions of dollars that are spent in emergency situations. Okay. Now, which ones should sign up for these? Well, this is for businesses who are, as of yesterday, as of a month ago, whatever, you are ready and able to support the state in case of an emergency. So they're gonna require fast, around the clock turnaround times. Okay, so you have to be able and ready when they call you, because they can call you whenever an emergency happens, anytime, middle of the night. So a business should not register unless they are fully capable of immediately providing the goods and services they list. Okay, it's not aspirational. It is you are now ready and able. And these are some of the categories. More have been added. I haven't added all of the ones that have been added, but if you go into the emergency registry, and I'll post the website, it will be in my slides, but these are some of them. Base camp operations, risk removal, facilities maintenance repair, fire protection, information technology, logistics, medical, portable modular business sanitation, roadway maintenance, traffic control, vehicles, rentals, many more things. So what do you need to register? Your certification number, your emergency category. So what type of emergency product or service do you provide? Description of products and services, your business address, and very important, your contact information where you can be reached at any time of the day and night. There is, like I said, I posted the website for the emergency registry as well. If you have any questions, which you'll find the email too in that website, Sbdbbe emergency registry at dgs.ca.gov. So this is a little just on the Sbdbbe emergency registry. Now, resources. We have the small business development centers. They offer help with business consulting, planning, marketing, and access to capital. Maybe they know of loans. They work with banks. So to try to help you with the loan process and that kind of stuff. The PTACs, the Procurement Technical Assistance Center, they are really good and well known to help with government contracting. SCORE, they're for really newer businesses, but they'll help with business mentorship. I listed all the websites in there. You also have your chambers of commerce, other organizations like the one hosting this event that can help with, if not helping you directly, directing you to another area that can help you when and if you do find a contract with the state of California. Okay. Let's review the items that we went over, which is we went over the certification program. We showed you Cali Procure registration and certification. We talked about keywords and UNSPSC codes. Showed you a little bit about how to look for bid solicitations. I talked to you about the advocates and who they are and what they can do. We also spoke about commercially useful function, CUF. And we talked about the Sbdbbe emergency registry, showed you some of the resources that are there to help you through this process. And if you know someone or you get a contract in the future with the state, or because you certified with us, you got one through one of our partners, let us know. We would love to know of any success stories of you getting a contract. If you need in one-on-one, okay, you can book an appointment with my area by scanning that, taking a picture of that code, the QR code. Follow us on LinkedIn. We have, we list important information there. Our maybe webinars, or not only ours, sometimes our partners ask us to list webinars that they have. So follow us on LinkedIn. And this concludes my my presentation. Thank you for listening to me, and thank you for inviting me. If there is any questions, this would be the time for that.
Thank you so much, Teresa. That's amazing. So wonderful. We're so happy you are able to join us today.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, we have our colleagues working on the Zoom, so if you guys see the questions, you can read it out. But Teresa, we do like to get in touch with you and to follow up. Yes, that is. So
I have.
wonderful.
Yeah, I have my information up on the screen.
On the screen, yes. Can you take a picture of the screen and screenshot? But definitely, we recorded all the videos for today, so we are live streaming on YouTube and on Zoom. So we're gonna send this out to our community and reach to more people. Definitely, we'll like to follow up with that. Thank you so much for your time and for your great contribution for our community.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so next I'm going to recognize our organizers and partners and invite our next speaker to get ready for this. So this event is organized by American Teochew Foundation, the Asian Pacific Islander American Public Affairs Association National, and Dvde TV, Silicon Valley Community Media. Our partners are Asian Inc., Silicon Valley Central Chamber of Commerce, U.S.-China Chamber of Commerce Silicon Valley, Oakland Chinatown Chamber of Commerce, CBC, Minority Business Development Agency, Ethnic Media Service, Yuan Media, CBC Life Financial Service, Eric Zhang and Associates. Thank you so much for our partners and for our organizers and for our team working hard on this. So next, I would like to introduce our next speaker, Joyce Liang. And she is the president of CBC Life Financial Service. She's going to talk about how to retain employees, how to do a good job in enterprise tax planning and asset protection. So Joyce, are you online? The stage is yours. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Dana. Yeah, still good morning, everybody. Good morning, all bosses. Yeah, I believe all of you are boss here. So it's great honor to be here as a speaker today. I hope all of you can get some great information today. So let me share my screen. Okay. So I believe all business owners face lots of challenges, especially nowadays, right? It's very hard to be a business owner. So myself, I just introduced a little bit myself. I am an investment advisor, financial advisor. I already been in the finance business over 15 years. So I always work with my whole team. So our team has business attorneys, tax attorneys, CPAs, financial advisors like myself. So what we do here, we always try to help business owners on reduce unnecessary taxes, mitigate business risk, review and eliminate business expense, of course, including tax planning and asset protection. So when I talk about small business, actually all the owner knows is lots of challenging things going. Maybe it happened every day, right? As I came back this morning, I met a business owner. He talked about that. Not 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., not Monday to Friday. It works 7 days, maybe 8 a.m. to 12 a.m. We don't know, right? That's a business owner. So we have lots of challenges like administration, human resource, recruiting, marketing, customer relationship management, networking, cash flow. So working capital and training employees. I believe this part, training employee and retaining employee, is also very, very important for the business, government regulations, and tax compliance, right? So how to reducing expenses, risk. There's all challenge here. Still a lot more. I just point out some of that. Are you agree with that? If you are the business owner, are you agree with those challenges? Can you just write down on the checkbox? Maybe just write down number one. Right? So when we face those challenges, of course, we get some achievement on that. Today, I'm going to talk about why retaining employees is so important, right? What do you think if your employees always in and out, in and out, in and out? What is the real risk, the true cost of that? The true cost is what? You need to have hiring costs. We have onboarding costs. We have training costs. We have productive costs. We have competitive costs. maybe you will lose what? The very important thing, you will lose your confidential business information, right? That's another risk on that. So if we can retain our employees, especially those key employees, as we face lots of costs, and also maybe that key employee will open another company next door to you, become your competitor. That's not a story. It is fact, right? I believe many owners face that problem too. So that's why retaining employees is so important. So what we can do to keep our people together? I believe as an employee, they think about what? Earn sufficient pay, find work meaningful, right? So apply skill and they have interest on it, feel appreciated. I believe this one is very, very true too. So another one is take pride in the company, get some achievement. The last thing is the most important thing. Are they treat themselves as a business owner? Because myself is also business owner too. So I believe my employee, my staff, if they can treat the company as their own company, the environment is totally different. I believe that's a key point to make our business be successful. So if they can treat themselves as an owner. So how we can cover that? Good pay, good benefit, good environment, they can have achievement in the company, appreciated, and then it's better than they open another business by themselves, right? It's very too much headache on that. They don't need any headache, but they still, like a business owner here, have more benefit, less headache. That's how we can retain our key employees, right? So key employees, what they want? Family protection, retirement income, enough retirement income, income replacement, right? So maybe you can reduce some inflation risk, reduce some income tax. That's all they want. So how can we do that? How can we benefit that? Yeah, I talk about one kind of executive bonus. Actually, bonus we should have a lot. We can see Google, Apple, they give many benefits to employees, like company stock, like dividend, like open 401k with them, like those qualified plan, like 401k, pension plan, many different plans we can help to benefit the employees, yeah, especially key employees. But executive bonus is another way to do it. I share two kinds of executive bonus to you today. Okay, this one is very great program, but it's not that popular. It's not that popular. We use it, insurance, life insurance as a vehicle, but this plan is especially planned for the retirement. They are not like regular life insurance. And we use very unique way to funding the policy, right? It's not like traditional retirement plan. So let's see how it works. I do a little bit explanation, okay. There's a 40-year-old male, yeah, 2 million face amount. We input in the index universal life. So how the policy works, we can see the bottle here. The blue line is a cost of insurance, right? To have 2 million coverage. But the green portion is excess premium. That's very important part, is understand this part. The excess premium, we can calculate like, okay, based on index. We use index like S&P to do the calculation, but your money is not really to invest in the stock market, right? Not really invest in the stock market. We just use S&P 500 or other index as a vehicle to do the calculation. That's why it's no downside risk. For example, is the market, the stock market right now is very bad. We can face it. When the market is going down, it has 0% fraud. That means your principal is protected. So no downside risk and potential growth on tax deferred. Also potential tax-free retirement income. Yeah, tax-free withdrawal. However, so we use very unique way, unique use of leverage. Look at the picture here. I believe all of us not very familiar with leverage. We're using leverage to buy a house, right? We leverage bank's money to buy a house, buy a bigger house, buy a beautiful house, a nice house. We leverage bank's money to buy a nice car. Here, we also use bank's money to leverage it. You look at it, first 5 years, you contribution a portion. The bank contribute a portion. From year 6 to 10, all contributions is belong to bank. So we only contribute 5 years. The first 1 to 5 years, your contribution is around 56,000, and bank the first 5 years contribute 52,000, right? From year 6 to 10, the bank contribute 100,000, yeah, around 100,000. However, let's see don't worry about the number here, okay? I believe it's not that clear or maybe too small, but don't worry about that. We just have to understand the concept only. So 2 million policy, first 5 years, your contribution and the bank contribution on the currency. So on the year 15, can withdraw the money, cash value from your policy and the principal and interest as well back to the bank. Many people will ask, oh, why bank borrow money to you? Of course, they earn interest. This interest is based on LIBOR plus 1.75 margin, right? I'm not going to talk about the detail. I just want to make sure the concept is right. And then on the age 65, we start to have retirement income. Retirement income, okay, make sure here. Right now, the retirement income here is tax-free. It's not like your 401k, not like your pension plan, not like your IRA. Here is to be tax-free. It's around 178,000 from 68 to age 90. Not only that, we still have more than 1 million. That benefit can transfer to our beneficiary. That's how it works. We're using leverage, we're using bank's money to do that. So what is the risk? You can look at the picture here. The small pic we can see is potential annual distribution after tax investment. So what about we do self-fund? We do self-fund policy. It's like this way. We leverage it. Yeah, we leverage it. All business owner, I believe, all business owner understand how leverage works. It's good leverage, always good, right? We leverage bank's money to open a business, maybe to do a franchise, buy a house. Here is the same thing. So we do lots of the stress tax on this one. But what about if what the risk is? If we leverage bank's money, interest rate is high, right? The performance is not that good. That's the kind of risk. But what about here? We do stress tax on 1980. All we know, 1980, the interest rate is very high, right? If on 1980, the income is less, but still more than 100,000, still more than what you do by yourself, right? But what about the Great Depression time? Great Depression time, the income, based on the Great Depression time, we do the stress tax on historical interest rate, right? Is still above 116,000. So we use those kinds of plan to helping business owner themselves, key employee as a executive bonus. So another kind of executive bonus is because $1 loan. I don't know how many of you hear about that. It's not that popular, but it's very useful, especially for like C corporation. Yeah, like C corporation. So it also provide life insurance for owner or key employee with business dollars. Okay, with business dollars, but minimize the cost to the employee. But those plans is still very different from those traditional retirement plans. The plan may discriminate. The golden handcuff is to retain key employee. Yeah, we give them the bonus, and the bonus no tax, right? But this one for the key employees, they still have some tax issue, right? I will explain it later. So, but no IRS approval is needed. So business will restrict what? Return of premium plus interest at death or load-out. So the load-out time should be the retirement time of the key employee. How it works? Yeah, actually the business loan the premium to the insurance company, business loan the premium, okay, and paying to the insurance company. But the policy is like two parts. Business own the policy, and the portion of the policy belong to the key employee. So the business also a beneficiary. The key employee can name their own beneficiary on that. So the load-out time can be the retirement time or that benefit or that, right? Or that benefit. So this kind of policy can keep us to retain the key employee here. You know, we not pay them money right away. We pay it in to fund the policy because they need protection too. The business need protection too. You can imagine that if your business, your key employee, maybe they pass away, the impact to the business is huge. It's huge, right? So we do some protection for the business, and we also protect the key employees' family as well. So when the policy pull a load out or when the death happen, we pay back the premium plus interest to the business. So the balance sheet is keeping the same because that's like the borrow money. But how we calculate the interest is based on the 10-year treasury rate. So we don't have our pocket to pay the interest year by year. We don't have to pay the interest year by year, but on the retirement time, maybe the load-out time or that benefit, then we draw that benefit, the premium plus interest back to the business. Yeah, back to the business. So the business on the interest side, they need to pay the interest tax. But as a key employee, they treat it as a bonus, Yeah, as a bonus to calculate the tax. You can treat it as a welfare to them. Right? So let's go back to those plans. Actually, executive bonus have lots of ways to do. So I just share you guys two different things today. Yeah, those things we using leverage. because every business owner very familiar with leverage, right? Why we use leverage? I believe it's like finance. We use leverage all the time. The first thing, we have small personal money and leverage it to bigger money. The second thing, have arbitrage. I share you the one statement here. Wait a minute, because myself own those parts too. We can look back the history. It's very good return too. Yeah, especially for last 10 years, right? But I don't know what happened in the future 10 years, 20 years, but still, because those policy, I go back here, those policy, if you understand here, yeah, the 0% floor is very important, that you invest to stock market, but even though the stock market going down, your principal never going down, right? Is keep the same, that's called 0% floor. Yeah, no market risk on that. And right now they base on LIBOR. LIBOR interest is variable interest. Okay, daily interest. LIBOR plus margin 1.75. Yeah, last year is less than 3%. It's 2.75. Right now, still less than 4%. Right now, still less than 4%. But right now, interest rate going up. Yeah, if you buy a house right now, the interest may be around 5% or above, right? So again, as a business owner, maybe you can open the 401k for them to the employee. That's kind of a benefit to employees. Yeah. For key employee, that's a special case to give the executive bonus to key employees. And also as a business owner, we have to think about the retirement too, right? We have to think about the retirement, we think about the tax issue. Yeah, if we can keep like tax defer and grow and tax free later on, when we have our tax free retirement income, that's the thing. On the other hand, if we accumulate more asset or we become very wealthy, that we can use a estate planning to here. So again, So I introduce our team again. So this in-house team member, we have business attorneys and tax attorneys in our team, and also CPAs. So we do comprehensive package to helping business owner to reduce unnecessary tax and mitigate business risk, and also for plan for the estate planning, asset planning as well. So if you do have any questions, we can have our contact here. If you also can contact myself or look at our website, the QR code here. So any questions, could write it down to the Q&A box. Okay, let's back to Diana. Everybody can hear me? Is any happen?
Thank you very much, Joyce.
Okay, sure. Yeah, my presentation is done. Yeah, thank you all.
Thank you, Joyce. Thank you so much. So happy you are able to join us and give us so much wonderful information. Thank you, Joyce. So now we're going to end for the morning section, and we'd like to recognize our partners again before we take break. This event is organized by American Teochew Foundation, the Asian Pacific Islander American Public Affairs Association National, and Dvde TV, Silicon Valley Community Media. Our partners are Asian Inc., Silicon Valley Central Chamber of Commerce, U.S.-China Chamber of Commerce Silicon Valley, Oakland Chinatown Chamber of Commerce, CBC, Minority Business Development Agency, Ethnic Media Service, Yuan Media, and CBC Life Financial Service.